I have been reading the international political scenario, geostrategic scenario, and worst of all, global pandemics. The way from December onwards, world has moved. At least it's a lifetime tragedy for everybody. From December onwards, initially we were thinking that this is going to be like Ebola or MERS, etc., to be a localized kind of thing. And we were very sure that multilateral agencies like WHO, etc., will take care and alarm the world timely, and rather the civilized members of the international community and the nations will definitely inform each other about the seriousness of the crisis. So we all were taken by surprise. We were never of the opinion that a country can behave like this. In whatever circumstances the COVID SARS-2 COVID-19 virus erupted in China, whether from Wuhan lab through accidentally or from bats. I'm not going into that detail because that is only possible to say when there is an inquiry, independent inquiry. But crime scene is already whitewashed, and country demanding the inquiries are being penalized by China. So independent inquiry is not being allowed despite 2 lakh people have died, and that too from the western part of the world mostly. People are dying, lakhs of people have died in America, thousands and thousands of people have died in Italy. And see the irony that no country in the world is in a position to say, Mister, nothing doing, we will conduct an inquiry. You have to accept the international mandate if you want to continue the member of United Nations and Security Council, including WTO, and we want to know the truth of the virus. It's not because we want to punish you, but it is also because we want to learn the situation under which virus emerged and disrupted the whole world. So despite so many deaths in Europe and America, what to say of Asia, no country in this world is able to say clearly that it has to be done, whether you like it or not. Doesn't matter, it violates your sovereignty, but your sovereignty is not something which is supreme to all. You have to be accountable member of the international community, and to that extent you have to allow us to do an independent inquiry. We are not compromising your sovereignty. Let an independent inquiry committee comprising of the professionals from all important countries of the world should come and inquire. If China is not ready to accept this demand and more time is lapsing, more evidences are gone. So it is another tactics. But the world should understand a country which cannot allow an independent inquiry, a country which is not transparent, a country which is so irresponsible with regard to communication, whether it's a genome sequencing of the virus, whether it was a statement that virus was transmissible from human to human, and the pandemic being declared under the pressure, too late, allowing the people to go all parts of the world, doing all kind of butcherings, etc., in its own country, and not telling the truth how many people were infected by this virus and how many died and what were so. And now they are uh, backing their patting their back that they have controlled the virus very efficiently, and other countries are not able to handle the pandemic, so they are trying to indulge in conflict or attacking China. So it's a bogus and bogus rubbish claim they are making. I mean, I mean, on the one hand, you have done wrong to the world. On the one hand, you are supposed to tell the truth. On the other hand, if you are so smart that you butchered millions of people in your country and then you control the virus, which I feel that it is not that you have controlled, because still some infections are emerging. And believe me, even if one person is detected, at least 10% have not been detected. And these 10 people are spreading the virus like anything, and more when they are asymptomatic. The human civilization is quite mobile, and this spread of the virus, it's very difficult to predict. It is using the highway of breaths of human beings, surfaces, and all kind of things, and even so many things which our scientists are yet to decipher with regard to the modes of expansion of this virus. And then all of a sudden you are saying that you are able to control your virus, and America, Europe, and so many countries are, and they are now blaming India also. The Indian government has failed to control the pandemic, so they are diverting the attention from its own people. They are waging war against us. Stupid nonsense. India is a democratic country. India did all those measures which were supposed to be done by any democratic government at any particular time. India did it. We all know that we don't know much about this virus. Experts, models, all medicines, therapeutics, all things are evolving. Initially, there was a theory that hot and humid countries will not be affected by this virus. This research proved to be wrong. Then it came that BCG vaccination in India and all that, they are helping not to be infected. Even that is not true. So the infection rates are increasing. Even all the models have predicted some other figures. My point is that this virus is still unstudied and hence unpredictable. So entire world is learning how the virus is behaving and how the virus is to be contained. And one thing is very clear since beginning from December onward, that this virus uses the human droplets breathe to travel to the target. Had this single thing would have been told to the world, and it would have been mandatory to wear masks since January, I think many thousands of people would have been saved from being dead. But China was not alarming. It kept low profile, deliberately or stupidly. But whatever it did, it was totally irresponsible. And more irresponsible behavior is attributable to the WHO. Even if China was trying to pressurize it, it was the ethical, moral duty of this organization to alarm the world, to investigate immediately, and to alarm the world that this virus is spreading very fast and this pandemic is going to engulf the whole world. Therefore, immediately respiratory precautions must be taken, and it could have been made mandatory. But since the WHO was totally, not very sure, and it took so much time to declare it as a pandemic. So again, I am coming to this thing, that if China is allowed to behave like this in international relations, trade relations, commercial relations, how can we sustain that? What is the guarantee that after 5-6 months another virus will be traveling? By the time world is aware, 30% people are infected. And then again, searching for therapeutics, vaccines. Again, we do not want to experience this kind of problem again and again. As an intellectual person, I would like to warn the global citizens that please do not trust these countries in future. Otherwise, another pandemic may not be acceptable, may not be tolerable by all of us. We have lost so many things in our life for last 6 months. We are living like caged animals. Entire world is suffering so much in terms of economy, in terms of so many things. People have died, so many people, so many families are orphaned, so many dislocations, financial dislocations, so many businesses have died, so many livelihoods have died, so much pressure. And now, after all, we are all now watching that we are not even allowed to investigate. What is the guilt in the mind of China? China wants to trade with me. China wants to sell its product to me. But China doesn't have any responsibility if I am sick because of China. It's a cruel mercantilism, cruel economics China is following. And then going one step further, now it is prohibiting all the neighboring countries, starting from Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, and now to India. What the hell you are thinking? On the one hand, the countries are busy in managing their pandemic. Had there been a peace at the border, the army and its resources, military, medical resources would have been diverted to the better purposes. But now you are forcing all these important countries to focus on you because you can do any misadventurism. You are trying to grab the territory of the people. We want to grab the ocean limits of the countries. You want to capture the no man's ocean zone simply because you think that it's oil rich, it's a gas rich, like China Sea. Under these circumstances, I would like to say one thing, and I have a very respect for the European civilization. Of course, America is extension of European civilization. Europeans have fought for their life, liberty, property so much revolutions, French Revolution, British Revolution, American Revolution, all they happened. Why? For these three goals: democracy, rule of law, human liberty. They thought that arbitrary rulers cannot be a safeguard to liberties, life, liberty, and property of people. Such great revolutions were done by people who died, and their legacy you are owning. And now, simply because you think that China has become manufacturing hub, therefore trade with China cannot be ignored, economic transaction with China cannot be ignored. Therefore, you are forgetting your core values of your civilization. Believe me, democracy is the guarantee of the prosperity, not the dictator. Authoritarian regimes are not going to help anybody, including Europe, America, Asia. And this is the time when the whole world needs America more and more. And when we need America more and more, I have reason to believe that Mr. Trump, with whatsoever criticisms you can make upon him, is still the best bet for the world. Why? Because this man is strong, his integrity is honest, he is not a person who can be easily manipulated, and this person can teach China a lesson in the language China understands and the world expects. He is fully aware that America needs to be economically revived. He has some issues. He is more a transactional kind of diplomacy he is following, which should be a little bit integrated with the strategic diplomacy and strategic foreign policy of America, because everything you cannot count in terms of profit and loss in economic terms, because cost is not only economic. Cost is other non-economic factors are also to be factored in the cost-benefit analysis. America, Mr. Trump is only thinking of the balance sheet kind of diplomacy, but the balance sheet must be interpreted in much larger term, and American interests should not be compromised under the pressure of economic balance sheet. So America must grow, must be prosperous, must have more employment opportunity for its youth, must have more innovative capabilities, must have more strategic capabilities, army, all these things, because after all, being economic superpower is acceptable. Every country, each and every country which is economic, which is democratically liberal, constitutional, must have aspirations to be superpower. And why not? Because a democratic country has the basic principles of being accountable to the people, and the people of that country will never expect that country to behave ruthlessly to the other countries. So first thing, why I want that, now we are feeling more the need of a super America, because America can make China feel that okay, enough is enough. Now you behave, or you will be disciplined. No country in this world is now in a position to say this narrative and this statement to China. And China is inching, maybe tomorrow leapfrogging in the defined trajectories, where it thinks that one day they will merge Taiwan, other day will merge Hong Kong, other day China will capture the South China Sea, and then it will damage India, capture some territory, and then it will capture the one belt, one road, and then its strategic countries, it will loan the other countries and then mortgage their sovereignty, etc., etc. So China has nefarious designs. China is not that kind of country which is thinking to work for global peace and prosperity. That is not a thing China is thinking. China is thinking in terms of Chinese interest, in terms of CCP interest, not even Chinese interest. The CCP being elite of China, and the CCP leader being the head of the elite, they want to engage the attention of their people for non-issues of nationalism and aggression, so that the people of China do not focus on internal failures of Chinese administration and government. Because they think that if situation comes, if the international diversions and distractions are not made, people will come and question why our government has killed so many people, why the virus has erupted here. See the way the Hong Kongers are opposing Chinese aggression. So in the midst of this crisis, before this pandemic, China was trying to suppress democratic aspirations of Hong Kong. China is not obeying the international commitments, agreements it has signed with the WTO or with the United Nations, or being a member of UN Security Council, are being flouted like anything. China said that it will guarantee the autonomy of the Hong Kong, but it is backtracking. China is not following the trade-free economy, a free market economy norms, which is must for being the member of WTO. China is providing nuclear weapons to the North Korea and Pakistan illegally. China is claiming the territory of other countries. On the other hand, the worst thing China has done is that is spreading a pandemic in the world by killing thousands and thousands of people. So these all things actually make me feel that now the time has come when Americans should rise and America should rise. Americans should rise to elect Mr. Trump, and then America should rise under the leadership of Trump to make the world balanced again. Because this freedom to China to do anything, showing the muscle power and economic power, is not going to be healthy sign of the global peace and prosperity. A dangerous China is emerging. China is okay being third, fourth power in the world. China being number one power, not acceptable to the democratic countries of the world. So now the time is very critical because in November elections are there in America. So China has penetrated in the American society and system like termite. It has been able to use its economic leverage through advertisements, through bribing the people entering into the administration and doing all kind of things in America. It is stealing the research technology from America. It is infecting the top class research institutes of America. It is manipulating the media of America. It is manipulating the political parties of America to downplay anti-China sentiments in America. When I see the lectures, speeches of Biden, a Democratic nominee challenging Mr. Trump, does he inspire? Does he inspire confidence that he is the person who can actually make the America great and then China to the size? I think he is a person of no much guts. His body language is very, very uninspiring. And God forbid if he comes into the power and if he makes a truce with the China and if he doesn't allow Americanism to prevail. See, if you see the history of last 20 years of America, starting from Clinton to Bush, America was maximalist. So America was intervening everywhere where there was a conflict or danger to the global peace. Then came Mr. Obama. He became reluctant, and then in a few years after Obama, America became a retired kind of superpower. No, I'm not interested in helping other countries. I want to focus on America. Focus on America. Do not think that your geostrategic interests, geostrategic assets are of no economic value. No, economic value doesn't mean only through balance sheet. These geostrategic considerations do help a country in terms of its prestige, influence, and other monetizable benefits. So my point is that if in this time China is not handled well by America, even during the crisis, if America is not able to force China to allow independent inquiry, failing which America will put sanctions and expel China from Security Council and all multilateral agencies. If these kind of conditions are not imposed by America and followed up rigorously with the support of all democratic allies of the world, I think China will understand. This word talks, China walks. So it is very, very important for America not to show the leadership, show the democratic leadership. America is a country which is considered to be the leader of the world in terms of knowledge, in terms of science, in terms of technology, in terms of institutional arrangements. So America has to rise to the occasion. See the way that India is positioned. India has a lot of constraints. India is not a developed country like America. India has economic aspiration, and why not? India must have, and it will actualize these aspirations, but it may take time because a democratic country takes a lot of time to do anything. It's not like an autocratic country where the government says, okay, cut the trees are cut, villages are dislocated. No, here we have to do so many adjustments, so many conflicting interests are being synchronized, managed and harmonized, and then country moves. So the movement is slow because we cannot crush, a democratic country cannot crush anything which comes in the way of its progress. It has to negotiate with those things. So democracy will slow down definitely the development, and it is obvious. But the best part of our country is that we are a democratic, and China feels in the core of its heart that when India says we are a democratic, China feels insulted, because reverse side it feels that it's an autocratic country. That is one reason China want to make India feel, live with your democracy. We are going to teach you a lesson. So democracy is of no use. So as it is said, blood is thicker than water. All the democrat brothers of the world should come automatically to support India in its fight for economic emergence, and then strategic support to India, so that China doesn't dare to actualize its expansionist ambitions starting from South China Sea to Himalaya. It's a very critical time. India is not begging. India is capable of defending its borders. My point is that as an ideological brotherhood, it is duty on Europe to defend democracies. India is the shining example of democracy in a developing country since the beginning. And the successfulness of democracy in India, despite being such a poor country since beginning, has proved that democratic values do matter. Democracy matters. Europe understands better than any country, because it has lost millions of the people in the fight against democracy, in the fight for democracy, against the autocracy. So now the time has come when I love the peace. Global peace should be there. Global trade should prevail. No country should exploit the other country. Instead of extortion, there should be negotiation. Instead of conflict, there should be cooperation. Instead of expansionism, there should be globalization of product and services and supply chain. Yes, these all are good things, but you just uphold a particular ideology and then you disrupt the global manufacturing capacities by making state a kind of player in the economy, rather doing business itself, and then a party. See, the open market forces need to be supported. And if you want to be the member of the open economies, it's not opening of economy. Your economy should be open inside also. Through a command economy, you cannot claim to be a market-driven economy, which is a prerequisite of being a member of WTO. Unfortunately, China became the member of WTO in 2001, and it has not adhered to the conditions which are required. So that is sufficient to be ousted from there. How can, as a UN security member, you can grab a particular country like Taiwan, or then violate international agreements on Hong Kong? How can you claim that South China belong to you? On what basis? You just sink a ship of Vietnam, or just deceptively murder a few soldiers of India, and then you try to say that I am too big. Believe me, I understand that power is always limited. It's a morality, ethics, and goodness which will have the last law, not the power. And as citizen of this country, I would appeal all the democracies of the world to pressurize China to become a disciplined member of the international community, being answerable to all international norms of democracy. And until unless all the countries pressurize this thing, it will not be good for the whole world. Therefore, I think that Mr. Trump should focus more on the geostrategic balancing measures of America. It should not be taken in economic sense. It should be taken in geostrategic sense. And then the world should be, given a chance to have the democratic narratives being victorious. And in this way, the role of America cannot be underscored, lesser. Thank you very much. God bless India, God bless world, and God bless America.